Let's stay from dying young. Feel like that's my shoulder. Let's stay from dying young. Mistakes, take them back. One Last Day from Dying Young by Rob Thomas came on just when I hit go. Should we raise this up a little bit? Don't mind me, y'all. I am for in a, well, actually, it's a really nice garage. He just hasn't gotten done yet. My brother-in-law's only lived here a little while, so spray foam insulated heated garage is better than nothing, especially when you're in Illinois. Anyway, let's see what we got. All right. Ooh, we've got Libra on the showcase today. We've got the sun, things coming out into illumination, and we got 10, the fulfillment of cycles, right? 10 is always where we have that open energy, right? We're at the end of one cycle and the beginning of another. Ooh, just 2 rooms today. We got the moon, and we got flight. Communication, messages on the air, the moon. I think a lot of secrets and things like that are getting ready to come out. I like that how we have the sun and the moon out. So whenever I see those, I always say there's 3 things that can't be hidden for long: the sun, the moon, and the truth. So let's go ahead and get our past life energy for today. Well, first we're going to start. I said it. We'll do it this order. I'll just slide these down. Let's rotate these a little bit. That flows better. All right. Let's see what past life energy we are pulling today, because many of us have lived many lives. Regardless of where you think you're from, whether you're a walk-in or earthbound soul or whatever you are. The big message I was getting today, and my boy was asking about that. He's like, when you're climbing the mountain, how do you inspire people to keep climbing? And I was like, the most inspirational thing I ever heard was there's excuses and there's solutions. You're either going to find solutions to do what you want to do, or you're going to find excuses not to do what it is you want to do. Whatever it is, if it's a weight loss journey, if it's a job promotion, is whatever. You're either going to find solutions to accomplish the goals that you're aiming for, or you're going to find excuses to avoid doing them. And then if you're always finding excuses not to do things, you need to wonder why you self-sabotage yourself. Oh, isn't that the irony? On the farm. So there's definitely a lot of that rural living in a past life coming out, right? Living off the land, living with animals. That kind of hard work. Only hard work pays off type deal. Energy going on. A lot of honoring the seasons flowing through. All right, so these 3 came out, but we're really going with downcasted pride here. And why are we dealing with downcasted pride? Okay, so there was a calling of the storm, right? Somebody rose up against a narcissist here, and now you have this black flower fragrance card going on, right? And your pride is deeply wounded, right? Someone has had the ability to knock you out of character, right? They might even have started a whole narcissists are famous for their smear campaigns, right? So I got a lot of that going on the front, right? So there's a lot of downcasted pride. Your ego, you've suffered a lot of ego injuries, things of that nature. You feel like that, nobody's seeing you for what you are, the black flower fragrance there. And it really just boils down to that somebody finally blew up and exploded at the narcissist here. Whew. Always shaking when I get on camera. It doesn't matter how many times I do this. It's crazy. All right, what does Earth Magic have for us today? Ancestors and generations, right? This is about generational curses. I was talking about that this morning as well, right? I'm going to tarot of the old path today. Oh, yeah. Generational curses. Generational curses are behavioral patterns in the programming that have been playing year after year. A lot of people get stuck in this, especially when we come down to the narcissistic family dynamic, right? You have the narcissist, and then you have the golden child, and you have the scapegoat. And if you're suffering from this in a family, you will be able to trace this back generations. I know in my family we can trace it down to one extremely angry, violent drunk that we all suspect was probably gay, and why he treated our great-grandmother so badly. By all accounts, he was an angel of a person, but once he started drinking, he would just drink till he got mean, and by the evening, he was mean. He'd pass out like 6, 7 o'clock, right? After just totally dogging my grandma. He called her bubble butt and all this other stuff. Well, now, in that family, it was my Aunt Barbara was the golden child, and my grandmother was the scapegoat. When my grandmother had kids, my uncle was the golden child, and my mother was a scapegoat. And then when my mother had kids, my sister was the golden child, and I am the scapegoat. And you can kind of see this same dynamic just rolling down the hill, right? That's a generational curse, right? That's something that your ancestors are calling you to break. To be mindful that you're not playing that same game, right? We're here to break generational curses. What are other generational curses? Addiction, alcoholism, abuse, physical, beating children. You know what I'm saying? Spare the rod, spoil the child. That is a generational curse, right? We all know now that it's not okay to beat the shit out of a 2-year-old because they're acting like a 2-year-old. The example that I used this morning was in my family, it's not okay to demonstrate any emotion other than happiness. And if you're not happy, then you can get in trouble for being not happy, right? That's a generational curse. That's not normal. It's normal to cry. It's normal to get angry. And it's normal to experience these things when people are breaking through your healthy boundaries, right? You set a healthy boundary and you always got that one person who just bulldozes over them and you're told you're not allowed to say anything. Don't get mad. Don't cry about it, right? You better be happy. That's a generational curse. Ooh, we got one upright. A lot of reversals going on today. A lot of reversals. Here the crows, they're all over the place down here. Alright, so there's definitely a focus on divine feminines right now, right? There's been a lot of conflicts. There's been a lot of conflicts. There's been a lot of three-party situations, right? I love the third-party situation card. Narcissists are notorious for this one, right? It's called triangulation, right? That's what a third-party relationship is. That's what a third-party dynamic is. That's when there's 3 people that are involved in all of your stuff, right? They will triangulate you and pitch you against other people they're talking to, or they'll pitch you against, like I said, in the golden child and scapegoat thing. The scapegoat and the golden child are pitted against each other their entire childhood. They are compared to against, and they're used to, you know what I'm saying, torture the other person with, kind of, right? Yeah, the 7 of Pentacles, right? There's this kind of reaping what you sow, and I get that whole dynamic of the explosions and everything else like that, that in building yourself up and learning these skills to tolerate or to recognize where your own problems is have kind of left you feeling out in the cold, right? With this card, I get that you threw me to the wolves, and I returned leading the pack type of energy, right? But it's still cold to be alone, right? I got the 4 of Rods here. Learning how to build new, solid foundations for yourself, right? Stability for yourself. Not that codependence, right? This is a girl by herself at the doorway of her own castle, her own tower here, right? Seizing into a lot of victory and power. It might not feel much like victory when you're dealing with this and when you're dealing with this, but you are and you have gotten power over these dynamics. That makes sense, right? Alright, what's going on the 4D? On the 4D, I get the reverse hermit mode. This is almost purposely keeping yourself in a hermit mode. This is saying that you're in a hermit mode because you want to be in the hermit mode, but you're not really wanting to be in the hermit mode, right? There's a lot of intuition and guidance pulling right now. It's pulling you in directions, right? And it's Well, now that's interesting. We got the reverse hermit is a female, and we got the star card here, which is two feminine cards, right? So we got this mermaid, siren-esque energy, right, and the star pulling, and then the hermit. And I like how she's sitting alone there, right? It's kind of this just hermit mode, but leaning into it. I've got a masculine here, a negative Prince of Wands here. What I say about that third-party dynamics, those triangulations, this is what this guy does. This is the big D energy card, right? This is a lot of passion and a lot of energy, and I feel like this is a lot of being bottled up energy, right? It doesn't matter how much divine intuition is guiding this person or speaking to this person. This person doesn't want to see it. This person wants to maintain being what? A player or whatever it is. They want to keep their options open all the time, right? They're scared to take any true leaps of faith is really the reason, right? So it doesn't matter how much divine intuition or how much you can even point out synchronicities or anything else to this person. They want to be alone. You know what I'm saying? They do, but they don't. Subconsciously, nobody wants to be alone. It's not in the human nature. We are pack-like animals, right? We've always been tribe-like animals. We're tribal. That's what we are at our core, right? We work together. I mean, they said that the first signs of humanity was not the wheel, not agriculture, not any of that. The first sign of true humanity, of civilization, was a repaired femur bone. That means that, you know, back in prehistoric times, if you broke your leg, you were dead. You were food for other animals. You couldn't eat, you couldn't survive, you couldn't hunt, you couldn't get to water. A healed femur means that this is someone who is part of a group that did not mind, or had at least had a partner that did not mind making sure they were taken care of while their leg healed. That's the difference. That's true civilization. That's true humanity at its core. Humanity is not cruel at its core. That is a toxic program that has been downloaded into the system, right? This is a hermit who's probably very stuck in that toxic, fear-based programming, right? That's why they're playing this player card. I'm getting the strong energy is this is the kind of guy who watches a lot of those alpha male videos, right? How to be, you know, big baddie, things like that, right? And really the reason that they do that is genuinely they're scared. They're scared of relationships. They're scared of taking leaps of faith, and they're just afraid of that energy. They're afraid of being hurt again, right? And this could definitely be, now that we're talking about mirrors and things like that, right? This is someone who's dealt with this too. This is someone who's exploded and had to deal with narcissistic relationship and smear campaigns and everything else, and downcasted pride. I mean, that downcasted, wounded ego is the reason that people stay in these reverse positions right here. And there's no victory in that. There's no victory in that because that's what society wants. They like broken people. They're easier to control. You don't have any time to focus on anything else when you're broken, right? When you're struggling by yourself. You've got nothing to focus on but the struggle, and then they keep maintaining that life is hard. Life is hard. It's a struggle. Life is hard. It's a struggle. You work until you die type of energy, and you don't have any time to focus on anything else. This is somebody who's definitely stuck in that thought process. All right, so we got the top of the cards here. This is on the 5D. In the 5D, we've got the 9 of Pentacles, right? Energy goes where your focus flows, right? Or energy flows where your focus goes. Did I say it right the first time? Probably not. Right? That's what this kind of card's about. This is about sitting in a place where you're manifesting things to you rather than chasing you, right? There's still this fear of taking a leap. This fear goes all the way up to the 5D. This is past life karma. This is past life generational curses, right? There is a fear of divine feminine energy here. There is no two ways to put this, right? These two right next to each other, there is a fear of the divine feminine energy. There's also, I'm getting a lot of childhood abuse around the feminine energy. Maybe this person is afraid of the feminine energy because they're, right, their mother didn't protect them, right? Things of that nature, right? There's some bitterness towards powerful women, right? There's a bitterness there, right? There's this shift, though, right? You got the Hangman upright this time, right? There's this shift. I like how all the money's falling out of his pockets, though, while he's hanging upside down. So there's definitely a call for you to try to reverse that hermit energy of feeling reversed hermit stuck, and try to look at it as, if you're going to be stuck, it's time to recognize how things are happening. It's time to recognize transformation, right? I got a message about recognizing the difference between a moth and a butterfly, right? One comes out at night, one comes out during the day. We got the stag in the background. And we've got the crow. So this, and we got lotus flowers, or lilies going here, right? There's a lot of imagery going on in this card. I love the Tarot of the Old Path here. I like how he's hanging upside down and the money's falling out of his pocket. But you see how his eyes are closed? He's not even bound in this picture. He's hanging upside down on purpose, right? And whenever I see that, I always get the sense of this person is trying, or what the 5D is trying to tell this person is, you need to stop being so defensive with your words, or either defensive with your words or holding back your words, right? And you need to see and close your eyes and focus on what is really draining you, right? You see all the money falling out of his pockets into the water, right? There's all these things going on around them, and they're just hanging upside down, learning how to focus, learning how to feel, how to see with their intuition. We all came with the same access to the universe as everybody else, right? Everybody's gifted, just some people don't choose not to unwrap their gifts. That's all there is to it there. And a lot of this toxic, I'm picking up just a lot of toxic male programming, right? Men are notorious, like, that's a generational curse that's gone on forever. I mean, it's one thing, women kind of get a free pass, you know, in most normal families. Women get a free pass for being a little extra emotional, like, and we get a little bit of forgiveness for having moon cycles and things like that, right? But men are always considered that, you know, you don't cry, don't show emotion, don't da-da-da-da-da. That's the energy I'm picking up here, right? And there's almost like a bitterness. There's definitely that misogynistic energy going on here. There is some definite bitterness towards the feminine energy. Let's see. Let's see what Spirit has to say about this, or let's see what's on the wire. You have anything to say for yourself? A heart is not judged by how much you love, but by how much you are loved by others, right? Doesn't mean the judgment is true. Doesn't say anything about the judgment is true. It just says a heart is judged by anybody doing the judging by how much you are loved, not by how much you love, but by how much you are loved by others, right? There's a sense of what, you know, popular people tend to be more loved, and it doesn't matter, you know, how good and genuine your heart is. It's kind of messed up, but that just is how the world seems to be, and that's why it always feels like sometimes that the mean people are always winning, right? I'll be your huckleberry. Ooh, I like that. Get a lot of that popping up on my feed lately. A lot of Tombstone, Doc Holliday there, and I love that saying because it's like, I'll be your huckleberry comes off as, I'll play the game with you, which is kind of what the scene is in that movie, right? I'll be your huckleberry, I'll play this game for blood with you. But really what he's saying is, I'll be your, what is it, knuckle bearer? Or huckle bearer, which means a huckle is the handle on a casket. And it's kind of like, I'll walk you to your grave if that's what you want. Ooh. Interesting. A lot of calling on the funeral there, right? A lot of, like, you don't know who's truly loved till you see who shows up at their funeral. Reminds me a lot of my, I had a cousin who died when I was young, like 11, 12 years old. And we didn't know how popular she was. You know, like, she was a big hero of mine. She died when she was 21. She committed suicide. But nobody realized, like, you didn't know she was depressed because she was so bright and happy. I mean, the Ramones showed up at her funeral. There were so many people that we ended up parking up at the house and just walking the 2 blocks to the cemetery because our whole neighborhood was flooded with people who showed up to her funeral, right? Because in the end, the heart is judged by how much, not by how much you love, but by how much you are loved by others. I also got a big message, and this came with the last full moon when we did the cemeteries and everything else like that, and the woman that we left the flowers at. There's a lot of wounded people from COVID who lost people and they were not given closure. And there's a lot of souls that were not given closure during COVID. They were not allowed to have funerals, and you were not allowed to do anything for people who died during those years. They just buried them right away, quietly, hush hush. Nobody was allowed to go to any of that. So I'm taking up a lot of energy of souls that were unable to truly move on properly. Did you hear I was happy and had to just mess it up? Ooh. That's where, yep, and that's where that narcissistic card comes in. That's somebody who's from the past who pops back up just when you're, because that's how it works. I call that Mercury retrograde too, right? What, the universe will give you everything you want, and then it'll give you something you used to have to see if you're going to fuck up the new thing. Sea turtles stand for wisdom and good luck. This was not supposed to be in here. This was written for a kid. I had them, they needed something for school, so I pulled out a bunch of different charms, and sea turtles wasn't the one she picked. She picked a different one, but still. Sea turtles stand for wisdom and good luck. It's supposed to be hard. If it wasn't hard, everybody would do it. The hard is what makes it great. And like, there's no crying in baseball, right? I don't know when we'll see each other again or what the world will look like when we do, but I'll always think of you when I need to be reminded that there is beauty and goodness in this world. And that gets into the message from the beginning of the reading where I was talking about a big message was coming in about excuses and solutions and what advice did people get that helped them motivate them, right? Sometimes the biggest motivator is just remembering, right? Just watching someone else continue to succeed can drive other people to succeed. Watching someone else do it and accomplish it is very empowering if you allow it to be empowering, if you allow it to bring you solutions, right? Instead of constantly bringing you excuses. Don't cry that you couldn't do it. Everybody could have done it. Anybody could have went and hit the gym and lost the weight and gained the muscle. Anybody could have done it. Oh, don't tell me that you work too much. You work 8 hours a day, you sleep 8 hours a day. That still leaves you plenty of time to figure out something else, right? Telling me you can't squeeze in nothing anywhere? I love my girl Luna right now because she has been going to the gym. She signed up for this program that she paid for, and the gym was real slick because it gives you 30 days to opt out. So she keeps going to the gym and doing this thing, and she's like, I always go in with the intention that I'm going to quit. I'm just going to do this last session because I paid for it. But then she does the session, and then all the endorphins make her happy, and then she's like, no, I'm going to stick to it, right? Because I already paid for it. And then that's how she's keeping herself going through it, right? But there's still that complaint all the time. There's still that loathing of having to go for her right now. It's still not part of her routine enough that it's always like she said, she's always feels rushed to get to the gym. And it always is timeline and da-da-da-da, and she has to force herself to do it, right? She's a habitually late Libra, so, you know, that's kind of in her dynamics for that is. But she is sticking to it, and she's not stopping. Words are spells. Cast your intentions and speak them frequently. I got you want a heart. You don't know how lucky you are not to have one. Hearts will never be practical until they are made unbreakable. But I still want one. Definitely dealing with a Tin Man, right? Those are the reverse knights, are the Tin Man, right? They're all bottled up and shielded. Don't mistake my kindness for weakness. I am kind to everyone, but when someone is unkind to me, weakness will not be what you remember. That's the song that has that in it. That's the song that has I think it's New Breed. And the song is Kindness for Weakness, and it starts out with Doc Holliday there. You should listen to it, especially if you're a guy. That's a good guy song. But don't take my kindness for weakness. I am kind to everyone. But when you are unkind to me, weakness will not be what you remember. So what? It's not going to be easy. It's going to be really hard. That's from the Notebook. This is definitely a lot of relationships and fear of relationship dynamics. It's a lot of fighting the fact that you think it's supposed to be easy, but it's never easy when you're dealing with people. You have to learn people, right? It takes time. Everybody suffers from generational curses, right? Everybody's had trauma. Everybody's had pain. And you don't share your trauma and your pain because you want people to walk on eggshells about you. It's just because that's what you're working on. Don't get distracted. Yep, don't let those people from the past come in because it seems easier, right? It always seems easier to go backwards than it does forward. No, it's just that old crappy comfort zone. Right? There's nothing more dangerous than your comfort zone because it will keep you from breaking out of it. What was the saying? The lack of courage is not cowardice, it's conformity. I got fire away, right? And I got the type. You're the type to have loose lips, show a gun but don't shoot shit. You act hard but don't do shit. Fuck you and your crew, bitch. This is from New Breed again here. So I'm definitely getting the energy of, yeah, there's definitely some sort of narcissistic dynamic going on here playing out. I'm getting up two masculines, right? They're kind of angry with each other. Oh, there's all the way up to the 5D, y'all. They don't even need to really be in communication with each other to be thinking about each other and comparing and doing all that bullshit, right? What else we got? What we got from one side? You know what? Here we go. We have two masculines that I'm picking up here that are both interested in that femme at the bottom. The third-party situations could be the feminine. She doesn't even know that she's doing it, but she might be. Sometimes walking away from everybody pits everybody against each other. Let's see. Just do a couple cards for each. What do you got to say for yourself on this side? Yeah, A and B. What does A have to say? You're a voice in my head. You're not a voice in my head, just a ringing in my ear. And if I heard you, which I don't, I'm spoken for, I fear. Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn. Ooh, definitely got somebody who is putting up the big front that they have moved on from something they haven't. You have everything it takes, more than what it takes, and you're stupid for not knowing that. I'm thirsty anyways, bring on the rain. You're not a god. Pull the trigger and find out. Ooh, definitely got a moving on energy here from one side, right? This is someone who's not allowing those voices and those things to deter them, right? I got that frankly, Rhett Butler, frankly Scarlet, I don't give a damn. This is someone who's definitely feeling they're over the divine feminine. But they're playing this, but they're not because they're still watching you, right? Thinking, oh, they got everything it takes, but they're thirsty anyway. Bring on the rain. You're not a god. Pull the trigger and find out. The other side starts out with, I'm your huckleberry, right? Definitely. Woo. Definitely. What else we got here? What do you got for Doc? I'm getting one side's Johnny Ringo and one side's Doc. What does Doc have to say? Remember, you can always walk away. The game ends when you stop playing. It's like playing in the rain while I stand in the desert, but I'm holding you closer than most because you are my heaven. Oh no, not I. I will survive. Alright, so we definitely got one masculine who's definitely on the side of this person doesn't hurt me anymore. This person's not bothering me anymore, even though they are because it's pulling all up in here, right? They still hear the calling. They still feel the calling. They still feel that person around. They still believe in that person, but they're too busy playing God or pretending that they're a God. You're not a God. Pull a trigger and find out. And this other side is like, fine, you want to play games? I'll be your huckleberry. Remember, if you're going to start this game, you can walk away, right? The game ends whenever you stop playing, buddy. It's like playing in the rain as I stand in the desert, but I'm holding you closer than most because you are my heaven. So this person does see and believe in the divine feminine, they are very egotistical. This person is not so much. This is someone who's let go as in a freeing let go, but they're still holding on to the connection, right? They still feel the connection. Oh, no, not I. This person will survive regardless of what's going on, right? They're like, okay, yeah, I feel this, I do everything else, but I'm going to play this game. I'm going to see. You want to keep playing? Let's keep playing. We'll see where it goes. I'm going to survive either way. And at the very end, I'm getting, this is like, okay. So one side, we got the Tin Man. And then the other side, if you've ever seen Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, if you haven't, go watch it. We've got this card here. The Encyclopedia Galactica, on its chapter of love, states, it is far too complicated to divine. The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy has this to say on the subject of love: avoid, if at all possible. Now, in that movie, there is a manically depressed robot. He's supposed to have a real people personality, and something went wrong, and he's morbidly depressed, right? So on one side, we have the manically depressed robot. On the other side, we have the Tin Man with no heart. And this is an energy that's battling, that's going on, that I believe is really just out of the divine feminine's control. Like, it's kind of sometimes you need to just let go, right? Let it flow. Let's see what flows. Let's see. I get a sense that the divine feminine needs to just worry about the divine feminine, and the divine masculines are playing their own game right now. This is going a little longer than I had planned. Dream. Messages will be in the dream state, right? Messages are coming through definitely on the dream state. That's where a lot of these connections are going on and playing out. Might be a good time to keep a dream journal. What else we got? Trust. Trust your instincts. Trust the calling, right? Trust the instinct. And union is inevitable for those who are meant to be together, right? We are in a beautiful, beautiful time in human history where, I love this too, look. These people are dressed the same, they act the same, right? Get that energy of some people who are very similar to each other, right? And we are in this beautiful, beautiful time, whereas in back of the day, you would have been traded to the next farm over as a female with your dowry of pigs and geese and shit, right? And just handed off of, oh, you take care of her now, to a point, and that's passed on a lot of these toxic masculine and toxic feminine generational curses. That catty behavior, that is a generational curse of when women were pitted against each other to get the best match. That egotistic, narcissistic, toxic male energy comes from a time where in order to get a female, you had to crush your opponents around you and amass the most fortune, right? We are in this beautiful time where none of that matters anymore. You can actually follow your heart, right? You're allowed to. A lot of people don't think they are, but yes, you are allowed to. You are allowed to follow your heart. You're allowed to love who you want to love. We've never had that in hundreds and hundreds of years, right? I mean, you get down to any culture that was like that. This is the toxic generational curses that we are alleviating now. Right, that's what we volunteered to come here to do. So don't mind if that you are calling the storm. Don't worry about those reputations and what other people think about you, right? Stop allowing your pride and your past traumas to destroy your future. All right, y'all. That's all I have for you today. I love you. Blessed be all those who walk these weird and winding paths with me. I'm going to be back with you as soon as I can. I promise.